Okay, so finally we'll do a quick overview from a HIP portfolio, and we'll kick it off with Samara from the Fairmont. So when we look at a company, we not only ask the question, how hip is it, but what human need does this meet? So from a travel perspective, you travel to relax, vacation, relatives. You travel to build relationships in business versus video conferencing where you don't necessarily go out to dinner with the people you're visiting. And there's curiosity. How do we get connected to other people around the world by seeing them and living in their space? And how does it actually do this? So there's eco-resorts. Costa Rica is a big tourism destination now, which has not only eco-resorts, but there's an airline called Nature Air, aspiring to be the first carbon-neutral airline. There's hybrid cars for both fuel and carbon dioxide savings. And if you choose not to travel, or a staycation is the latest buzzword for this summer, and go to the park instead, then you don't have a lower greenhouse footprint, as long as you don't drive in your SUV. And there's management practices that go together with that. So, from a private perspective, Nature Air is looking to expand from Costa Rica across Central America. Here in San Francisco, we have many hotels aspiring to be green, and we'll hear from them this evening. From a rental car basis, we talked about Zipcar. GE Financing did a $20 million line of credit to expand Zipcar's portfolio. Right now, we're calling entertainment and gaming not very hip. There's not really if somebody asks me at the break, I'll tell you about a sidebar conversation about a private company who wants to prove to me that gaming is hip, so I'll have an open mind. And then on the public side, the easiest way to talk through this is looking at the stock prices. So this is from the beginning of this year until today. And as everybody knows, stock market's in a slide. Financial companies are eroding, but travel companies have really been hit hard. So from an airline perspective, most airlines have lost anywhere between 40 to 85% of their stock value this year. Fuel prices driving high. Airlines are not passing all of it through, as we talked about before. Some of them have aging fleets. And customers, because the prices are going up, are scaling back on their travel because they're trying to save money from their personal gas bill. One company that has broken through, and this is a company that hedges their fuel prices, and it's a shock that not every airline hedges their fuel costs, is Southwest, and their ticker is LOVE, L-U-V, for Love Field, and the feeling you get when you fly Southwest. On the hotel perspective, actually, Starwood was starting to be in the positive territory for most of this year, and they're actually most of their major growth is going to come from building in Dubai and China for their next wave of scores of hotels. But that's dropped into low territory here. So this big June sell-off, not only in airlines but also in hotels, and these are all public hotel groups. On the rental car side, again, Avis and Budget were here in slight positive territory. Then Alamo issued an earnings warning, and all of them sold off. So, and some of these stocks, like that's Dollar General, is the bottom line, is off 85% since the beginning of the year. So obviously, the question as an investor is, well, when should I consider getting back in? And so that's something you probably want to sort of wait and see, and definitely ride it through the fall. But at some point there'll be a buying opportunity because these stocks are too cheap, and some of them become takeover targets when they get that devalued. And then finally, from a gaming perspective, all the gamers are off, including Mr. Trump. So from anywhere from in the 50 to 60% range, except Wynn, which is a great name for a casino. And so then finally, from a practices point of view, so there's three parts to HIP. One is the human impact, quantifiable human impact that's generated. Two is the profit from that human impact. And three is, what are the management practices that are in place? So do you have a vision like EcoJet fuel, where Virgin Airlines took a 747, put eco fuel in one of its engines, flew it across the English Channel earlier this year, based on a commitment they had made to the Clinton Global Initiative, in Richard Branson saying he's going to take all the profits from the airline and the rail, which now I don't know what that equals, and put them into eco fuel, and to prove that EcoJet fuel can exist. and we talked about nature, air. In our analysis so far, and Stephanie, who has been doing sustainability research on airlines, will give a couple-minute overview, is there's no airline or travel company that seems to have a comprehensive scorecard around human and social impact. So we may hear differently tonight, but that's an opportunity to really focus on the measures and then to deliver on those measures. Hertz and Avis are charging higher prices for hybrid cars. Continental Airlines is now copying Virgin on their EcoJet fuel, which they expect to pilot next year. And Orbitz.com is actively engaging its customers in green practices. So the benefits of eco-travel are your better health. So you don't live in a sick hotel with closed windows, but more natural light, and it actually improves, or maybe they have a spa. It creates green jobs and green incomes from that green approach. It has a lower carbon footprint from a pretty heavy per person usage. Ultimately, as the global growth takes off, it could be affordable travel for everybody worldwide. And at the end of the day, when you do travel, and hopefully you've experienced this, when you meet other people, and even if you go to a place where there might be friction with your country, you find that people get along with other people. Governments may not get along, but if you're in a place that has had some political friction, people at the end of the day get along, even Americans and French people. So that's why it's really enjoyable. So we'll leave off with a quote right now from Vinod Khosla, who co-founded Sun Microsystems, was a partner at Kleiner Perkins for a long time, and now has his own venture, own investment company, Khosla Ventures, and they invest in reducing carbon through renewable energy and sustainable steel and sustainable concrete. You don't have to pick pure plays. You only have to pick the more efficient of the industry. So as you think about your own portfolio, think about, in this industry, who are the leaders, and how can I invest in those leaders? Great. So tonight we're going to hear a short presentation from Samara Fairmont, Damien of the Orchard Garden Hotel, and then Kristen at Deloitte. Any questions before we go to the next segment?